Guten Tag and welcome back everybody to Modded Minecraft 1.10 with yours truly. Hey, how are you doing, guys? I'm doing great while I'm staring at stars. Oh, isn't that lovely? Well, actually not that lovely. The lovely part is we have 103 nether stars. I mean, come on, I never saw that many nether stars despite creative mode or stuff like that. 103, that is incredible. What is actually not that is incredible is the fact that you don't see this number increasing, which it should in theory. When you recall the last episode, we built the Witherer, and with that, we should have an ever-increasing number of nether stars, which we don't have. So, why is that? Well, I actually don't know for sure. Well, every time I want to click in this window, I pick up Silver Grid. I am actually not entirely sure why that is. I think it's an issue with Ender.io and the fact that it does not work with what is it called? Chunk loaders. Yes, that is the word I was looking for. So let me head over to the Witherer and we will look at what the issue might be. While we are approaching the Witherer, you can actually see where the problem lies. It is definitely not creating the wither. We have plenty. Way more than I would like to have. Yeah, so it might be a problem. It must be a problem with the, look at that. It must be a problem with the killing of the witherer and not the actual creation of the wither. And I built a little landing pad over here. You see? Sweet. There we go. Okay, put this out, take this out and head. Ooh, what happened here? Let me maybe... That was weird. Okay, good. So now we are here, make it a little bit more light. Withers are dying down below. That is not the problem. The problem must be that the created withers does not get slayed by the killer Joe. And that should happen because we have a chunk loader. I even tried another one. This is from the Persistent Bits chunk loader. I tried this one. And with both chunk loaders, it does not work. So, oh, by the way, a sound muffler guarantees that we don't get our ears blown off when we are down here. Good, now the withers are dead again. Okay, here are a few changes I actually made because it didn't work quite well. Well, first of all, let me head back here and take the sand out. Boom. There we go. So we do not get any more withers. Just to ensure that I don't die again, put this off. Good. Now, here are the changes that I made. First of all, I had a problem that this middle soul sand here was not placed when I was leaving the area. That is really bad because without that we would have a skull there, and that would not lead to a wither boss. So I had to change something. And I decided that it does not matter if we place the soul sand on a timed basis or not. So instead of placing it timed, we place it just as soon as there is space for it. So every time a wither is created, we will instantly place new soul sand and just time the skulls. That is a way more reliable method, and that way we ensure that we get the wither every time we have enough ingredients, aka soul sand and skulls, in the system. So that is working quite nice. You can see here I just used the constructors from Refine Storage. This fixed the problem with not proper creation of the wither in the first place. But the killer is not doing what he's supposed to do. He's not killing. So instead of having this here constantly running, we have it more like an AFK farm. Oh. Don't drop, don't drop. So we can't run this without our presence here. Well, we have quite a few left. Well, let's see. This is 120, over 120 wither nether stars we can still make. But we can't do it while we are leaving the area. That is sadly not in the cards. What a bummer. The next thing on my list for today is mana, because we have quite a few problems with mana actually. And it is not that it is mana generation. Well, you shouldn't drop on there. Why do you do that? This lever should be on. Good. Okay. So we stopped the timer. And this is exactly where the problem lies. You can see here the mana pools are filled up to the rim. All of them, in fact. Well, not the one over there for the fan thingy, but the rest of them are filled up to the rim. So we are completely topped up in terms of mana. That is good. What is not good is that the coffee brewer keeps brewing coffee, and the droppers, or whatever they're called, open crates, keeps dropping coffee onto the Gomorillas. So that way we are wasting resources big time. When you look at our coffee reserves, we should barely have any. Yeah, we are at least back at 2,100 coffee beans. And I think the system is still brewing coffee until it is at 64 or something like that. So, for right now we are good. But we are wasting the coffee that is actually brewed back here, because we are constantly dropping it onto the Gomorillas. I stopped that by flicking the lever, but that is not a proper solution. The proper solution has to be, as soon as the tanks are filled up, the system has to stop automatically and start again if it is not filled up. So that is a case I want to look at. And there is another thing I recognized on top here in the farms. Here, I use this here. This is powered soil from Craft. This is absolutely incredible, awesome, fast. When we place it on here, you can see it fills up with energy. And when we then, for example, plant the coffee plant, it will instantly grow. And it will continue to do so. Look at that. That is absolutely crazy until it runs out of power. And now it is out of power again. And despite the fact that it is hooked up to the power conduit down below, you can see them here, it does not receive any power. I have no clue why that is. I tried with the conduits from the mod itself. It is exactly the same. It receives energy when you place it, and that's it. So I don't know why that is. So this is also a thing we have to look into. For now, I think I will rely on fertilized dirt to grow the coffee plants. And as well, as long as we're not wasting too much coffee, I think this should be good to go. Yeah, it's keeping up, it's brewing the coffee until it hits 64, I think, and then it will stop automatically. And something like that must be in place for the actual feeding process of the coffee to the Gomorillas. So I have to think about that, and when I have come up with a solution, I will be back with you. So here's something really amazing, I think at least. While trying to figure out a method to look at the mana pools, because we want to stop mana productions once these are full, I figured out that you can actually use a comparator to get the value out of the mana pool. So right now, and here comes the amazing part. Here's the mod I haven't experienced so far, and that is integrated dynamics. And this basically gives you capabilities to get data and display it in the world. As one example, you can do many more things with it. I have it installed forever now, and I never experienced it. And it is really beautiful. And right now, this one here gives us the comparator value of whatever this redstone reader is attached to. So this redstone reader is essentially a comparator. And this comparator gives the value to this display panel here. That is amazing. So we can actually check, we can physically check and see how full this mana pool is without using a Wand of the Forest to actually see how full it is. That is incredibly awesome. And when we look over here, here is an empty mana pool with the exact same setup as that one. So we hooked it up to one of those redstone readers. And now we have here a complete mana tablet in. And when we drop it in here, you can see the value rising when the mana pool fills up with mana. You see? That is amazing. So we can actually precisely determine how many mana is in the pool. I mean, come on, that is awesome. So all we need to do now is use or utilize this and facilitate it into some sort of checking device when we want to cut the power to the feeding of the coffee to the Gomorillas. So this was step one. I am back at work and see what we can do with it, and then I will be back with you in a second. First important step in that process, we can connect what was it called? The reader, the redstone reader, to the bottom of the mana pool. So that is exciting, because now we can check on that mana pool here if it is filled up or not. And that is really, really beautiful, because we don't need to think about a system where we can actually, well, the initial thought process was, get down, to put down some sort of buffer mana pool down here and read the signal via a regular comparator. And now that we can connect this actually to the bottom of the mana pool, we don't need that. We can just utilize the settings we already have in place and just grab the signal here and send a stop signal to wherever we want to have it. Okay, I try to set that up and then I will be back with you. Okay, so here's the problem. It works in theory, but I'm not satisfied with it. So as you can see, the middle fabulous mana pool is not completely filled up. I did it by adding a recessive. I think it's recessive. Here, this spark here. It's now a recessive spark. So every other mana pool that is adjacent and connected will be filled up through this mana pool until it's empty, basically. So we have to bring back mana to that pool, and we can check that. And I did that down below here. Let's go to the underground. Here you can see it here. Oop. Come on, jump up. Here we have a value of 8, redstone value that is. So it is filled up to a redstone value of 8. Good. That is good. And we have the redstone writer here, and this redstone writer is connected back here to this redstone observer. And here you can actually see the power of that is 8. So the connection is persistent. That is fine. What is not fine is as when this receives a signal, and now it receives a signal, it will stop the timer. So that is not okay. We need to make sure that all of the mana pools are filled up, and only then it should stop doing this. It should stop feeding mana to the Gomorillas. And how do we do that? I was thinking about, here, a logic gate. In a logic gate, we can compare actually 3 different sides. And if we grab the signal from each of these mana pools, and only if all 3 of them give a 15 signal, only then put out a signal, and that will then stop feeding coffee to the Gomorillas. Does that make sense? I hope. Let me try to actually build that, and then we will see if it works. I might overcomplicate things here, but I'm actually kinda lost in integrated dynamics. Man, this mod is awesome. How can I have this installed for so long and never experienced it? So here is what I came up with. I know it looks like a spaghetti monster. I get it, but I will fix that later and bring it underground. So here is what I did. There is something here. This is just the variable store. We store all our variables here, and this is the logic programmer. In here we can compare two of the variables we have written. So what I have done is the following. So we have here our redstone values from the comparator output, meaning that this one here is below 15 because it is not completely filled. Then what I did is I compared the values of the variable with each other. Well, can I actually show you? I think I can. Here, these. Let me take this here. This is the programmer. So I compared them. Let me filter. Good. I compared them by minimum. So I compared this with this, which leads to a number, and the number is the minimum value of the two of those. Right? Good. Now we compare this number we just got with the last output from the mana pools, which gives us another minimum. So this is now the minimum of all three mana pools compared. So if all pools are filled up to the rim, the minimum is 15 because that is the output of the redstone value. But as soon as one isn't, which is the case right now, one of those values is smaller than 15. And by compare the three, we get the minimum. So if the minimum is, for example, 13, we have a value that is less than 15, obviously. And then we compare it to this here. And this is a full output redstone signal. It is power 15. You can see it in the tooltip of the probe. So we compare our lowest value that we got from the three mana pools to the full output of a redstone signal. And if the comparison leads to a smaller number, so if one of the three values from the mana pool is smaller than 15, then we have a true. You can see that easily when we flick this lever, we have a false. So this now is 0, no output at all. We still compare the minimum of the three tanks, of the three pools, to the redstone value. But because it can't be lower than 0, this is false. And if we turn the lever back up, we receive a true. So with this mechanic, I think we can now output a signal. So whenever this is true, send the redstone signal back to the timer to activate it. And if this is false, meaning all three mana pools are filled up, then send a false and turn the timer off. Now I try to implement that, bring it underground so we actually don't have to see it. Well, because it kind of looks... It looks so neat, but we don't want to have that here in the middle of our magical world, of course. So I will bring it underground and hook it up to the actual observer block somewhere up top there. And then we will hopefully have a working system. See you in a second. Ha! It works. Pretty nice. Okay, what you just saw is the simplified version of what I had earlier. So right now at the lamp lit, the mana pool on top here, this is the mana pools here, just reached full capacity. So I did it a little bit different now. First of all, you don't need the writers as long as you don't want to write anything into the world or into something. All we need is the readers, and we have them here connected to the mana pools. And we compare that to this value here as before. So this is a value of 15, and we compare This time, if the both values, so the minimum value of the 3 of the mana pools and the value of the full on redstone signal is equal or not. And as we can turn it off here, now it is not equal, and that means false, the light turns off. And when we turn it on again, this is 15. You can see this is 15 here. And this is the comparison of the 3 mana pools. And the light is lit. Now, all we need to do now is get that redstone signal to the observer, to the redstone observer, and the redstone observer will stop the timer. Pretty nice. It actually works. Now, this is here the redstone observer, and this guy here is acting weird. I don't know if this was the case all the time, and I did it unintentional right in the first place, but this here connects at the same side as the power is on that block you actually observe. Oh man, that was a difficult sentence and doesn't make any sense at all. So, if we look at the thing, now we can see power 15. And on this side here, we have nothing at all. The same with all the other sides. So only this side here has the power. I've got the power. And we are looking now in which direction? Where is the direction? There, facing west. Now, the west-facing side is lit with the power of 15. And when we go underground, under the mana pools, we can see here I'm connecting to this here. So this writer outputs in that direction. And as you can see, it is also west. So if you use these observers, you have to make sure that they actually face in the same direction as the redstone signal you're observing. Otherwise, you won't receive a signal at all. So this is actually working now. That turned out surprisingly well, I think. Well, I didn't expect the amount of work I had to put in. I thought I would just hook up a comparator and everything would be fine and dandy. That was obviously not the case. But Integrated Dynamics is an awesome mod I just discovered, and I think I will use that quite a lot in the future. I think it might even be compatible with refined storage, and that would open up a whole new level of things. Think about, we could actually retrieve a specific amount of items from the system and feed it into something else. Thinking about the witherer, for example, or basically everything that needs a specific amount of items. The rune. The rune making facility from Botania is another thing that could work. If we ever wanted to make a bunch of runes in a row, we could use maybe that system to compare it to different values and feed it the exact amount of items we need. So that opens up a whole new level of possibilities to us, which we encounter in the future. But for now, this is all I have for you for today. I hope you liked it. I think we did a good amount of progress in terms of mana and in terms of overall progression, and make use of integrated dynamics in the future. But this is it for today. Take care of yourself, guys, and rock on.